What's going on, party people? This is another edition, both on obviously whether you listen to a podcast or the Bird Rights podcast, but also this is going to be a YouTube rendition. Similar to what we did for our 10 potential blockbuster trades episodes you guys listen to, given, we're going to be sharing our screen back and forth with potential Giannis deals. I just figured it'd be easier to, have this on YouTube as well for the viewers. Some of them, again, very convoluted 3-4 team deals. Obviously, with myself and, as you guys know, Josh Earl, the only guy who I would trust with the trade machine as much as myself, is joining the show today. Josh contributed for the Center Hub, Swish Theory, obviously also basketball career development coach. So if you're listening to this pod, odds are you do have an interest in a career on basketball. So feel free to reach out to him. He's an invaluable resource and he's a great friend. And a great basketball mind, of course. Josh, this is a pod I've been waiting for to record for quite some time. As you could tell, I'm wearing it's blocking it a little, but my Giannis, oh my God, my backdrop, you take my word for it.
I can attest, everybody, he's wearing a Giannis jersey. Yeah.
So, Giannis is, I would say, top 3 of my all-time favorite players. He's my favorite active current player.
Interesting. Okay. I did not know he was that high on your list. That's cool.
Oh, Giannis is my favorite active player, and he's up there with Allen Iverson and Dikembe Mutombo as my top 3 all-time favorites. So this is an episode near and dear to my heart because, not that I'm saying I wanted him out of Milwaukee, but I do want him to, solidify his legacy wherever that may be. And at this point, I think it's best to be elsewhere for him.
Yeah.
So, Josh, before we get started, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. Typically tired, like I usually am. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old, and I'm a stay-at-home parent for them. So, yeah, lots of getting beaten up and thrown up on. But when I do have some time, it's always fun to talk with Steven and some other friends regarding basketball and especially regarding trades and stuff. And as Steven can attest, I'm usually a big stickler on trades. So Steven will sometimes text me trade things, and I'm probably the person that pisses him off the most when it comes to feedback.
Yeah, but I still asked for the feedback for a reason. So Josh is basically a college student, as he said, because he's getting beat up and thrown up on all the time. So anyway, let's start with, we have 8 potential trades. Josh came up with 6 of them. And at that point, I don't want to come up with too many because then this episode will end up being 2+ hours. So we have 8 trades in total. 2 of them to the same team. Let's start with the Knicks. Because it has been reported this past offseason, actually, that Giannis did say he had a preference to go to the Knicks. The Bucks convinced him to stay. But it does seem like Giannis does have a preference of the Knicks. It was reported, I think, by Kevin O'Connor that basically Giannis his family's living in Greece right now. That's, I'm pretty sure, a known fact at this point. And the Newark airport, which I actually flew out of once, being from Philly, is the only year-round nonstop flight to Greece year-round. Newark Airport, I would say, is probably about, well, obviously with New York traffic, I say about 45 minutes to an hour from Madison Square Garden, basically.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Otherwise, Brooklyn is even closer. Brooklyn's probably about 25 minutes.
But Brooklyn also isn't nearly in the same competitive stratosphere as the Knicks right now.
Of course. And for what it's worth, it's about an hour from Philly. Obviously, traffic's not as bad. Everyone's like, why doesn't Giannis fly just private? Like, he's Giannis. Flying private's very expensive. He's probably going to have to pay $100,000 or more every time. He would have
also, Giannis has come across many times in the past as fairly frugal with his money, which is fair. I mean, we know all the stuff about pro athletes who wind up going bankrupt down the line. So if Giannis can easily access a trip to his family all year round, that's a major bonus. So I think there's a reason why the Knicks keep getting mentioned.
Okay. So without further ado, as I'm trying to create these banners, wow, how exciting. Giannis to Knicks. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to pull up the trade. StreamYard just got an update, so I'm still playing around with some of the new features.
No worries.
Image file. So this is a trade Josh came up with. It is a 4-teamer, I believe.
Yeah.
So Josh, I know you have the trade in front of you, but can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see it. It's a little small, but like, it is what it is. So like one of the things I keep seeing in regards to Giannis to New York discussions online is people like, oh, well, the Bucks don't want Cat. Um, or like they can't trade Mikhail yet. In this deal, they only have to trade OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, and Miles McBride plus picks.
Yeah. And the picks
Um,
they do have are very limited, I would say, which is why a
yes,
lot of people think Giannis to the Knicks can't happen because of the lack of young
yes,
talent and draft equity.
exactly. But this one is set up to be a 4-teamer because you can get more
Let me.
picks that way. And so do you want me to just kind of go through this one?
Yeah, so I'm doing this so I could zoom in on. Can you like see this now? Just
Let
for
me see. Where did it go? Yeah.
okay, so I'm just trying to zoom in
So,
just for people watching
yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah. So in this trade, the Knicks would receive Giannis Antetokounmpo and Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Also, the Bucks would release Alex Antetokounmpo from their 2-way, and then he would sign a 2-way with the Knicks. I have him included in here just to show that
Well,
all the
he could be
Antetokounmpos
traded, couldn't
go
he?
to the Knicks.
Honestly, way.
I honestly am not sure about 2-ways.
I believe he can. I know RJ
If he
Louis.
can be traded, then he'd be
Yeah,
included in this. And if he
yeah,
can't be traded, then you would work with the Bucks to have him released from the 2-way so he could sign a 2-way with the Knicks.
yeah.
Then we have Bobby Portis and Mitchell Robinson going to the Boston Celtics, who Kita has been playing really well this year, but they're still really thin up front. And also long term, once Tatum comes back next year, having the bird rights to Mitchell Robinson could be very attractive to them. And Bobby Portis brings additional big man depth who can play both the 4 or the 5. And for Bobby Portis and Mitchell Robinson, the Celtics are just giving up Anthony Simons to the Bucks, and I believe so it's just Simons to the Bucks and
A
a
2027.
2027 swap with Milwaukee. So the Bucks can swap in 2027 with the Celtics. Not that that's necessarily likely, but who knows? And then the other team involved is the Jazz, and we've heard them repeatedly say that they want to actually stop tanking and they want to start competing. Ideally, they want to start competing starting next season. So that's why I don't think Markkanen's actually going to be traded. I think they probably retain Walker Kessler in the offseason. And if they can add an additional like highly competitive piece, I think they would at this trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this deal, they get OG Anunoby, and they send Yusuf Nurkic, Kyle Anderson, and George Niang to the Bucks, along with the Lakers 2027 first round pick that I believe is protected one top 4, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. And then also a 2029 first. So the Jazz would then have OG Anunoby, Lauri Markkanen, and hopefully a healthy Walker Kessler as their front court starting next season, which I think would make them a lot more competitive. And then the Bucks in this process, they get the aforementioned Anthony Simons, Yusuf Nurkic, and George Niang, who are all expiring contracts. And then Kyle Anderson and Miles McBride both have just an additional year at low dollar amounts for the season after. So that means they clear a lot of salary with this, particularly long-term salary. They pick up additionally the 2026 Washington pick that New York had.
But it's likely that pick.
It's like
I just go to the protection
protected
while you were talking.
Yeah.
It's top 8 protected this year. If Washington's in the top 8, which most likely they will be, it's a 26 and 27 seconds. So that's basically 2 more seconds.
Yeah. So that another 26 second. The Lakers 27 first. The opportunity to swap with the Celtics in 27 if they wish. Another 27 second. 2 28 seconds, including one via Indiana or Phoenix, which could be good. 2029 first. Milwaukee swap rights on 2030 and 2032 for the Knicks picks, and a 2032 second. So they clear a lot of long-term salary, and they get kind of a refreshment of draft picks. And they get Giannis to where, in theory, he wants to be. And then the Celtics kind of shore up their front court a little bit, and the Jazz kind of take their first steps for being competitive next season.
So, real quick on Boston, I don't want to spend too much time on this, obviously, because this is a Giannis-centric pod.
Yeah.
They saved $1.2 million in this deal, and then if they would have flipped Mitch Robinson's expiring at the deadline, they would be out of the tax completely this year, which I know is a goal of theirs. Just thought that was worth mentioning. If I'm Milwaukee, I understand, like, obviously clearing all that cap space with Simons and Nurkic and Niang's expirings, but if I want to trade Giannis to the Knicks, I'd almost rather just have OG than all that expiring.
True, but also OG, while extremely impactful on good teams, OG's probably just going to keep the Bucks competitive enough, but not too competitive, where they're going to be in the lotto, but not good picks. Not that they have a lot of control over their picks right now anyway. But like, the idea with OG would be probably
getting the
then
draft
turn around
capital
and flip him for more picks anyway.
Yeah.
So in this case, like I said, this would probably be the let's work with Giannis to get him to New York. We don't want Cat's deal. Like I think Mikal would require a longer time frame before he can be traded.
So
I think there's something with that, because I've been hearing that like Mikal can't. I'd have to like look into it further, but like
what, because he signed an extension?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the extension.
Yeah, I'll have to see the date he signed it.
Yeah. But it would delay the transaction, is what I'm saying. So if they wanted to get this done relatively quickly, this is a way they can do it while clearing a lot of salary, picking up some draft capital, and working with Giannis.
What I will say is the Knicks probably should be the favorite to get Giannis, just because, like, again, he wants to go there. But like, I don't know. They don't have the picks, and like, I feel like Cat and Anunoby would probably both need to be in there for like Giannis plus Kuzma plus maybe Bobby Portis to make salary.
Yes,
like,
if you wanted to really clear salary, yes. The other problem though, is if you're Giannis, you probably actually do want to play with Cat. Like, he's had a lot more success when he's playing with like spacing bigs. And also Cat would probably be best utilized next to somebody like Giannis. So if you don't include Cat, it becomes very difficult with New York, which is why this is a 4-teamer and not a direct trade. Because I think if you were strictly trying to get Giannis to the Knicks without including additional teams, it's not really going to happen.
Yeah. And again, we've talked about this, but just for perspective, like if Giannis does go to the Knicks, a team like the Pelicans make a lot of sense and Portland make a lot of sense because
as third teams, yes.
Yeah, they own as third teams because they own Milwaukee's draft capital future basically up until I think 2029 or 2030.
The other team is Atlanta.
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
Let's pivot to Atlanta actually because in my opinion, Atlanta is the dark horse. And Josh, I think you agree with me.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. Like Atlanta probably should be the favorite to land Giannis. It depends how much the Bucks are actually going to value what he wants, what Giannis wants to go to the Knicks versus, the team with the best package.
Yes. Yeah.
So Josh and I each have an Atlanta deal. I'm going to pull up his first. So Josh's is a lot more favorable for Milwaukee than I think mine is. And Josh, I think I already sent you the one I came up with.
Yeah, I think so.
One. Yeah. So this is Trae Young, Kristaps, Ricochet. That 2026 first is the one the Pelicans just traded to the Hawks.
Yes, but it's unique swap rights on this. So in this case, what they would do is the Hawks would give the Bucks the first choice of the Pelicans, Bucks, or Hawks picks, and then the Hawks get the second best choice, and then the Bucks can get the least. So the Bucks get 2 2026 firsts, including likely a top 4 pick. The Hawks still keep likely a top 8 pick or something.
I think there's something wrong with that swap because doesn't San Antonio own Atlanta's 2026?
Let me see.
I think San Antonio.
If not, then like you can simplify it to the Bucks get the first choice of
and then
those 2 picks, and then Atlanta gets the latter. Either way, Atlanta still maintains like at the very least the top 10 pick in this draft class, while getting Giannis, while keeping Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, and Onyeka Okongwu. And like if you're the Bucks in a trade like this, when you're trading like a superstar, an MVP type player, you ideally would like to get some sort of all-star back. You'd ideally like to get some salary cap breathing room, some savings. You'd ideally like to get a young prospect, and you'd ideally like to get high value picks. This does all of those things. So not only do the Bucks send Giannis, but they also get rid of Kuzma and Bobby Portis's long-term money in this deal as well. So the Hawks, like he said, trade Trae Young, who's an all-star level player who can keep the fan base engaged and can still sell tickets and that sort of thing, even if they're not going to be that successful. Kristaps, who is a massive expiring, and they could potentially flip him again for more stuff at the deadline. Ricochet, who probably shouldn't have been the number 1 overall pick, but is a promising young player. That 2026 probably Pelicans pick that's going to be likely top 4. Then you got a 2027 first, which is the Pelicans or Bucks swap rights.
Least favorable, that one is.
Least favorable, but still, again, we're talking about like if the Bucks and the Pelicans continue the way we think they're going to continue, especially sans Giannis, that's still a really good pick. 2029 and 2031 outright. And then they also get swap rights with Atlanta for 2030 and 2032. So a lot of pick capital, including some of their own. An all-star who can sell tickets and entertain, a massive expiring, a promising young player, and they clear every non-Miles Turner like double-digit million plus per year type deal off their books.
Yeah.
I think that's something that if you're the Bucks and Giannis is amenable to it, and considering Atlanta was the team that Giannis expected to draft him, they had tried to shut everything down with him, and they had brought him in, and he loved his experience with Atlanta pre-draft, and then obviously Milwaukee drafted him before the Hawks pick, directly before the Hawks pick. If that's the case, I think this is the deal that could get Milwaukee to be like, yep, okay.
Who's the Hawks' current president?
Soleil, right?
Or is he just the GM? Oh no, they don't have a president right now. It's just
Yeah.
Soleil.
Yeah, so
Soleil, wasn't there something that
like
he was
before
Giannis'
Soleil,
former agent or something?
Before I also know that Giannis's current agent was also a finalist for the Hawks.
So no one currently in the Hawks front office is Giannis' former agent.
I don't know a Soleil. You'd have to look up Soleil.
Okay.
But if that is the case, then that's obviously another positive connection. Yeah.
So then let me pull up my Hawks deal. So here's what I have. So this one, the Hawks get all three Antetokounmpo brothers. I think I was a bit more generous in terms of what Atlanta's giving up. Because like Atlanta, I think Jalen Johnson's a non-starter.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
I have them keeping Trae Young though. Here I have Milwaukee getting Zion from the Pelicans. They're getting Ricochet. So similar theory to what they were doing with getting Trae Young is Zion, when healthy, will still put, butts in the seats. Ricochet is the young talent, former #1 overall pick, still on a rookie deal. Same thing, they get that more. This, I just have the Bucks getting the more favorable Milwaukee and Pelicans. And then the Bucks already get
and keep
the least favorable. So Bucks
they get
both. So that's two top 10 picks this year.
That would also be very enticing, yes.
And then, so basically, instead of Trae Young, I'm throwing them the extra pick.
True.
The top 10 pick. 2027, least favorable Milwaukee and Bucks will, Pelicans and Bucks will also likely be a top 10 pick. And then a 2029 first. I could include swaps in 2030 and 2032. I didn't, just because they're already getting 3 potential top 10 picks.
Yeah.
Former #1 overall pick a year and a half into his career.
Yeah.
And then Zion, even though that's $39 million this year, and then 2 more years after this year, knowing you could potentially cut him if he doesn't meet the games paid requirements, which I don't think he's able to already.
I think they could just cut him right now and then just be on the books for the remainder of this season's salary.
Yeah. So, I will admit, I don't know if the Pelicans would flip Zion for Kristaps expiring for just a singular seconds.
Yeah.
That's where it's a little flawed.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, for Milwaukee, though, like, this is the type of package I think that would really entice them. Obviously, with 3 top 10 picks, Zion gets to play.
This is why both of us think Atlanta's the dark horse.
Yeah.
Because they have the access to Milwaukee's own picks and New Orleans, plus they have the kind of requisite salary in Kristaps, Ricochet, Trae, if you're including him. Like they can make this work in a variety of ways. And I think if I'm the only thing is, I would say if the Bucks wanted to clear long-term salary, it'd be easier to like also foist Kuzma on to a trade. And then if I'm the Hawks, I at least want to keep one of those 26 firsts. You know what I mean? Like if I can get Giannis, keep Jalen, and get a bite in this 2026 draft, I would include additional stuff.
Yeah.
To try to do that. Admittedly, this is the godfather of like, here, you get 2 chances at this like big 3.
Yeah.
Plus Ricochet, plus Zion, who's going to sell tickets, and also he's probably going to be too injured to actually make you any good.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think either of these Atlanta packages actually make the most sense if you're Milwaukee trying to maximize your return for Giannis.
And what I will say is that Atlanta and the Pelicans have a pretty extensive recent history of trading with each other.
Yep.
We saw it on draft night. We saw it with the DeJounte Murray deal. And
Yep.
like optics matter in front offices. I know it's the new Hawks front office, but these teams frequently deal with each other. I guarantee you Milwaukee says, oh, loop in the Pelicans or whatever to add whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawks would be able to do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that is Atlanta and the Knicks.
Let's talk Spurs.
Okay, let's talk
your guys.
Spurs. This is the second trade I came up with. And then after this, let's do the Houston one.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at potential Spurs deals, there's no way they're going to be able to get Giannis without giving up one of Harper and Castle.
They have to give up one of them.
They have to give up one of them. That's why I think Josh didn't even come up with.
I had one, but I didn't like it as much as these other ones. So I didn't include the San Antonio Spurs one. But yeah, like you have to include Vassell. You have to include at least Harper or Castle. Probably like Sohan or Barnes. You especially want to include Sohan because if you're bringing in Giannis, like where's Sohan going to get minutes? And then picks.
So yeah, this
Steven
is what
has laid out. Yeah.
Yeah, it literally, and then for the pick capital, 2026. That's probably going to be Atlanta's pick, but Atlanta or Spurs, whichever's the more favorable. And 2031 Sacramento swap. I know that's far out in the future, but that's one of the most valuable picks you could get, it seems like, knowing how Sacramento typically
It's
operates.
Sacramento, so yeah.
So in this deal, I have Harper instead of Castle. Harrison Barnes is $19 million expiring. Sohan is a little tricky because he is going to be hitting restricted free agency.
But he could also, you could view that as either an expiring or we've seen how restricted free agency has worked lately. For Sohan, I don't think he's going to have anywhere close to the market that like Grimes and
like Tari Eason.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think they could get Sohan back on a longer term deal on a pretty inexpensive contract, or have him just pick up the qualifying offer and then you get a year of him. Like I think this would work. The only issue with this one is if you're the Bucks, you have to be completely sold on Harper or Castle, whichever one they include. You have to be completely sold that guy is a star.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting like 2026 high draft equity. You're not hitting in this like draft class. And like Vassell's a good player, but he's not a star. And neither is Sohan. So like for this to work, you have to really believe that Harper or Castle, whichever is included, is the guy for the Bucks to kind of like start their rebuild around.
I mean, to be fair, Milwaukee, we said, does have the least favorable of them in the Pelicans. So they still should get their own.
Yes.
But with that 2026, let's say that's Atlanta, just because it's supposed to have a better record than Atlanta right now. Let's say that's what? Pick 19. Right now it's a lot of people. Let's say it's pick.
Yeah, but if you have that plus the Bucks first, you might be able to move up a little bit. I doubt anybody would trade out of the top 3, but you know.
Yeah, but 10 and 16, 17, 18, those two could probably get you up in the top 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending who you're trading with.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
Okay, so that's the Spurs one. I would say Atlanta and the Knicks should be the 2 favorites. I think San Antonio might be number 3.
there's a lot of that. I think part of the San Antonio thing though is just everyone kind of wants to see Giannis and Wemby together because that would be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to watch that? But the problem again, I still think is like if you're the Bucks, does Harper or Castle, because you're only getting one of them. Like San Antonio has said they're not trading either of them, which is BS. That
Yeah.
if that push came to shove, they might include one of them. But if those guys are the best young prospect you can get in a Giannis deal, if they feel that way, then yes, like San Antonio, I think is third. I do think there's at least one other young prospect they could get in a Rockets trade that they might have over those guys.
So I'm putting that shit up right now. So this one, you and I differ a little bit, actually.
Mhm.
Let's pull up yours. So the three Antetokounmpos to Houston. You
Mhm.
have Van Vliet, DFS, Jabari Smith, and Amin Thompson.
Mhm.
With a 2027 more favorable Brooklyn and Houston swap, that could end up being the number one pick in the draft next year, for all we know.
Yep, for 2027. Yeah.
For 2027. Yep. Not this draft with the Monster
But the
Boozer
subsequent,
and
yeah.
the next one. And then 2030 Houston first.
Mhm.
I almost want to say if Houston were to get into the honest sweepstakes, they'd probably be more wanting to give Şengün. But like, I don't know. I don't love the
So
fit of Giannis and
here's my
together.
here's my take on that.
Okay.
The guy that they just ate $22 million a year in Dame salary to sign, Miles Turner. I don't know if him and Şengün particularly work that great together.
Yeah.
And also, I think most people, I don't necessarily agree on this, but I think most people actually have Amin as the more interesting prospect
Yeah.
than Şengün, even though I would argue Şengün's the better player right now. And if you're Milwaukee, I think Amin is that guy that like
Yeah.
I know enough people in the league that believe that Amin is on a tier above a Dylan Harper, a Stephen Castle, etc. Like, so he's another one that I think you could kind of put your cards on the table and they see Amin and they're like, oh, okay. And then Jabari's been much better the last two seasons. And I would not overlook getting him. And then like Dorian Finney-Smith is long-term salary, but it's reasonable salary. And once he comes back and actually like plays, I think he'd be very tradable contract. So I think this one would work. And then that Brooklyn swap in 2027 is that additional like, okay, here's Amin, Jabari, and this.
Yeah.
I dare you to say no.
Yeah.
The only thing
Like
I don't like about this is like the Bucks don't really clear salary long term. Like they're not moving off Kuzma as well or like Portis. But
all four of those
again,
guys have value.
yes,
Positive
exactly.
value.
Those guys have value. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, yeah, this is one of the ones I think you said it. Like, I dare you to say no. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And the Rockets would still have, you know, like Alperen Şengün, who I think would like we've seen how he works with Steven Adams and Clint Capella.
and
Put
Amin
Giannis
Thompson.
Antetokounmpo right there. You know, like yeah. Like I think that would work really well. And I don't think it's a massive considering you're getting Giannis. I don't think Amin and Jabari collectively would be as impactful as Giannis.
Yeah.
So and because Fred's already out, Dorian Finney-Smith hasn't played at all this year. Like functionally, you're just trading two starter slash like top six guys for Giannis, which I think people and Steven understands this because he's one of his favorite players of all time. I think people sleep on Giannis now. Like I've seen people like, oh, I wouldn't trade Stephen Castle or Harper, or I wouldn't include any of our good young players. They can have some of our picks, and that's it. Giannis is a freaking MVP guy.
Yeah.
The only reason Giannis hasn't won MVP the last couple seasons is because Nikola Jokic and Shea have also been freaking insane.
Yeah.
Like Giannis is easily one of the 4 best players in the world. Still.
Especially when, like, you're the Spurs and you have Victor Wembanyama. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Or the Rockets, who you have Kevin Durant and Sengun, and obviously here you'd be giving up Amen, but either way.
Yeah, but you still have Reed Shepherd, who
Yeah.
I think would be more complimentary than like Amen to Giannis and stuff. But yeah, it's a possibility. I think Houston could do it. The other like Western Conference team that I think people like you've mentioned this to me several times in the past, whenever there was Giannis rumblings, is like OKC. But like OKC would never do that simply because cap wise, there's no way you can have Shea, J-Dub, Chet, and Giannis on big deals and still like survive any sort of injuries to any of them. So like in theory, yes, they could do Hartenstein, like Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, and like either Topich or Cason Wallace or something, and then like a bunch
Mitchell,
of picks.
maybe.
Yeah, they could put a ton of picks in there. Sam Presti just wouldn't do that. And also I think Sam Presti is currently set up to survive this second apron stuff.
Yeah.
Because he has all that pick capital, because he has all those all that depth on quality contracts. And so trading for Giannis would probably enhance them. It would, but do they need much enhancement right now anyway? And that would gum up a lot of the salary cap stuff and make it more difficult for them to round out the roster around those guys. So
okay, so we have 3 more trades that Josh came up with to 3 different teams. I think we talked about the teams that should be the 4 most likely landing spots. We don't have a Golden State trade. But we did.
Fair, I think it'd be kind of difficult to pull that off. Like you'd have to include Jimmy and Kuminga, but do the Bucks necessarily want Jimmy? Do the Bucks necessarily want Kuminga?
So didn't I send you a 3-teamer? I
think you did. Yeah.
It was, well, Jimmy would go to Phoenix.
Yeah.
The Bucks would get like Brandon Podziemski, Jalen Green, Malik Monk. I had Sacramento in here as well, getting Kuminga. And then Milwaukee just gets a bunch of picks from Golden State, and a pick from Sacramento. So like maybe
it's
I go to getting Giannis and Grayson Allen. I don't know.
It's
I thought it would be,
but it'd be kind of tough.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a top 5 for the Giannis, like likely teams to trade for him, I think the 5th team is probably Miami, because Miami always goes hard for stars of that caliber. And right now they actually do have several young players who have been playing well. They have young vets that are on like good contracts and stuff. So like in my proposed Heat Bucks deal, the Heat would get the Antetokounmpo brothers as well as Kyle Kuzma. So the Bucks also get off that salary, and in return they get a young all-star and Tyler Hero, Terry Rozier's expiring contract. Although I still feel like you shouldn't be able to trade that deal right now and everything, but whatever. Simone Fontecchio, who's been shooting the lights out. Jovic, who's been kind of hit or miss, but is still a really promising young player on a solid deal. Kel'el Aware, who's been one of the most intriguing young centers in the league. I think he'd be very enticing for them. And then your guy, Yakashonis. And then 2026 Heat first, 2029 Heat first, and then swaps in 2028 and 2030.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is intriguing. Like, Khalil Ware looks like he's going to be a future All-Star.
Yep.
And he's playing alongside
He,
Bam Adebayo right now. Imagine if,
yep.
like, I know he'd still be alongside Miles Turner in Milwaukee, at least for the imminent future.
Yeah.
Kasparis is a guy I had number 4 on my board, so that really is going to depend. And a lot of people had him in the lottery, even though he fell to the, pick 20?
Yeah.
So it's going to depend how Milwaukee values him. Hero is already going to want to get paid again, so...
Yes. But he's also like 25 years old and has been an all-star, is likely going to get you 20 to 25 points per game, which also makes him, in theory, somebody Milwaukee could subsequently flip for additional stuff. And then, like I said, Jovic has had his like flashes of brilliance. So like, if you're Milwaukee, this isn't the worst thing. Like, you get also like Yakashonis and Ware have already kind of shown a pretty solid chemistry with each other. If out of this deal you get those two guys long term plus the draft picks, you get like salary relief from Kuzma's deal. Simone Fontecchio is expiring. Terry Rozier's contract is expiring. And then with Hero, you either get, that third guy with those two with Hero. You could basically have 4 of your new starting 5 if you're the Bucks and really want to go like full tilt, like let's just play and see what we can do with our picks. And also I don't know if Miami would be on his list, but like Giannis would be very good in Miami.
Yeah.
And in this deal, the Heat would still have basically their starting lineup this year: Mitchell, Norm Powell, Andrew Wiggins, add Giannis, and then Bam Adebayo. Like that's a hell of a starting lineup in this current Eastern Conference. Like, I could see why Miami might be enticed to do that.
So another team that, how Josh just alluded to, like Miami goes star hunting. We know Pat Riley does that. So does Daryl Morey. Perfect segue into maybe my favorite team trading.
This is the dark horse's
for my
dark
favorite
horse.
player. The dark horse.
The dark horse's dark horse. Yeah.
So there we go. Josh and I talked pre-show and basically said, like, look, admittedly, the Sixers would have to give the house. And this is the house for them. This Quentin Grimes, it is worth noting, does have a no trade clause. So he would have to waive this. If not, like Kelly Oubre makes almost
exactly. They could put Oubre in there. Yes, exactly. And I think Oubre's expiring, I think.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So like, you could swap him in for Grimes if Grimes says no.
So we have Paul George for the salary filler. Paul George has actually been okay. He's not Paul George anymore. Don't get me wrong.
He's not Paul George, but he's a positive contributor.
Yeah. VJ Edgecombe, Jared McCain, obviously are 2 of the main assets here. Quentin Grimes with Kelly Oubre and Janai Broom. Here's the picks. Milwaukee gets right to swap with the Sixers in 27. The right to swap with this. How do you want to do that swap? The Sixers and Clippers? Because that's a
28.
Sixers in 28. The Sixers.
Yeah. Well, the issue with that is I think like the Bucks didn't have a 2029 to swap with. So this way they would still have access to a Clippers pick.
I'm pulling it back up now.
You'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure like they don't have 2029 to swap. So in this they get 4 swaps, 2027, 2028, which includes the highest of Sixers or Clippers, 2030 and 2032, and then they also get the swap rights. They get the Clippers pick basically in 2029, and then 2031 Sixers first, and then a couple of seconds. So like Steven said, this is the kitchen sink that you're throwing at them. But if you're the Sixers, and you can pair Maxey, Embiid, Antetokounmpo. Like, that's very intriguing. Like you said, Morey likes to swing for the fences. And on top of it, like our boy Steven mentioned earlier, that Newark airport,
Yeah.
not too far from Philly.
Yep. So like
So
this is the for the three teams or three cities that have NBA teams that are close enough to the Newark airport that Giannis could conveniently get there. The Knicks are the obvious destination, but they don't have the assets. The Nets obviously would be
have the
torn out there.
assets, but
Yeah.
Giannis wouldn't want to go.
And so this is sort of the happy medium.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. This is
with
why I think it's the dark horse's dark horse. Like, I still think Atlanta is the
Yeah.
dark horse, but if Atlanta doesn't get it done, I think Philly's the dark horse if they were to actually offer this. Admittedly, this is a lot. Like,
Yeah.
they love VJ. Like, I'm a big fan of McCain. And if Grimes signs off on it, you're giving away like
Is this really more than like some of the other deals we came up with though?
not necessarily, because none of these guys are Amin Thompson.
And none of
None of
these
the
guys like VJ is having a great rookie year, but like what 3 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, I guess Dylan Harper was in a
Yep.
completely different tier prospect as
Yep.
VJ was. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I think it's within the same realm of
Yeah.
possibility, but it's because you're throwing the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah. And the Clippers, obviously, those are
And the
picks we're gonna
Clippers
want to
being,
own.
oh my
Because
gosh,
the
yeah.
Clippers are far enough away that okay, the Clippers will probably be bad then because like Kawhi's gone hard and like even if
Yes.
Kawhi
I
investigation,
mean, they're bad
whatever,
this year already.
yeah,
So like,
and they're not that far away in the future.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So like, it's, I think this is one that could work, but it would, I think Knicks, Hawks are probably the two most likely, and then you get into the like Spurs, Sixers,
Houston, yeah,
Rockets, Heat, like that realm. And then I think there's like another team, specifically due to some circumstances that they have uniquely, that could be an interesting trade candidate for Giannis. And that's Portland. And so Portland has a couple of interesting aspects here. One, they have a couple of Milwaukee's picks in 2028 and 2030. And then they also have Dame Lillard, who Giannis, I think, was a little caught off guard. I mean, he probably was somewhat aware that they were going to do the Miles Turner thing, because that's a big, big swing to take. But like, if you look at this for next season, Drew Holiday, one of Giannis's closest teammates, Damian Lillard, he's played with, Tumani Kamara, Donovan Clingan, Hansen Yang, etc. Like, the Blazers could go into next season looking much, much better if they pull off Giannis. And Giannis and Dame had always talked about playing together. I don't know if them playing together actually soured that or not. But in this case, the Bucks would be getting back Denny Advia, who's been a clear all-star this year.
yeah.
Robert Williams is like an expiring deal. Matisse Thybulle is an expiring deal. And then they also get Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharp.
Yeah. And they get the I don't know if I might have missed if you talked about the draft picks, but
Yeah, they get they basically get their picks back in 2028 and 2030. They get the higher of their picks over the Blazers in those years, whereas it's currently reversed. And then they also get a swap in 2027.
this is a very competitive offer by Portland.
Yeah, especially if they like Scoot, Shaedon, and Denny.
Yeah. Well, Denny, I'm sure anyone likes now.
Yeah, but like, especially if you believe in Scoot and Shaedon, which honestly I'm not a believer in either of them really. But if Milwaukee is, you're getting basically like your backcourt of the future, plus your forward, who can, again, you're getting like most of your starting lineup.
Yeah.
Like that, plus you're getting your picks back.
That Portland team of Klingon, Giannis, Kamara, Dame, and Drew would be phenomenal.
Good luck scoring. Good luck
Yeah.
scoring on them. Yeah. Even if you're targeting Dame, good luck. Yeah.
That's a really fun one.
So I think, let's be honest, the likeliest thing that happens is Giannis finishes the season as a Buck.
Yeah.
Inertia probably wins. But there are a lot of possible places that would work well for Giannis and also would work well for both teams involved. And again, it's going to come down to like what the Bucks are really prioritizing. Are they trying to really give Giannis like his first choice? Are they trying to clear their books? Are they trying to get their own picks back? Are they trying to get like a star young player like an Amin Thompson, a Dylan Harper, at this point, Denny Advia? Like, are they trying to, what's their priorities? And how that plays out is going to determine, I think, where Giannis winds up if he is traded.
Who do you think the single best, I guess what the single best asset the Bucks will get for Giannis is?
The 2026 Pels or their own pick. That's the best asset.
And if the Hawks were to say, fine, we'll give you Jalen Johnson too, they'll probably gain the two best potential.
Oh, yeah. Like, if Jalen Johnson's on the thing, I would take Jalen Johnson over Harper, Advia, Amin. Like, Jalen Johnson is freaking fantastic.
What about...
But that's also why, if I'm the Hawks, like, I'll give you at least one of these 2026 firsts plus other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you Jalen. Yeah.
What about, I don't want to miscredit them. I think it was on the Zach Lowe show. They talked about, I forget who his guest was, but they talked about Evan Mobley potentially.
I kind of considered the Cavs.
Yeah. It's tough because they're a second apron team.
That's the tough part. And like Mobley would be up there. The issue though is like the Cavs don't really have much beyond Mobley, and because of that, you'd have to have Mobley clearly far higher than Amin, top tier 26 first, etc. Like you'd have to like really like Mobley on a tier much higher than those guys or Dylan Harper, and like it's possible they would, but like most people, I think
the last team I'll throw out before we sign off, I don't think it's realistic, but the Lakers. And I think you're going to feel the same way.
Like Austin Reeves would have to want to go to Milwaukee, which why? And then, if it is a third team thing, like does Austin Reeves necessarily want to go to Portland or New Orleans, which is well, I guess Portland or Atlanta, since they're the ones that have control of like the Bucks.
What if he goes to Atlanta? Trae Young goes to the Lakers.
So they get Trae and Giannis?
Oh, shit. I didn't think about that. No, I guess Giannis would have to go to Portland or something. Or like a 4-team or something along those lines. But I don't know, something to think about. Because, Austin, everyone's like, oh, well, if they wait till the offseason, Lakers could trade 3 firsts instead of 1. Okay, well, Austin Reeves is an expiring contract, so that doesn't work.
You'd have to work out a sign and trade.
They don't have enough contracts on the books to... Unless LeBron's going to go to Milwaukee, which isn't going to happen.
Yeah, which is not going to happen.
And he's also an expiring anyway.
But. Yes, so... Yeah, like, and again, they're probably... various multiple team trades that could potentially get close to it. But again, I think those are kind of the clear teams that make the most sense.
Yeah.
Outside of OKC, which again, I don't think OKC would do.
Yeah.
Just on principle.
And OKC would probably have to give Chet or J-Dub at this point because they don't want 4 max contracts on the Bucks.
Yeah, but also if I were going to do it, I would say we're really good at drafting. I don't really care about the depth thing. I'm going to add also Chet would be fantastic with Giannis. But yeah. So it's the other thing you have to think about is out of all those teams we discussed, which team adding Giannis this season, like before the deadline, makes them a legit contender this year, championship equity this year, not just like subsequent years.
Well, the Knicks, I think.
Knicks and Hawks, I think, in the East.
Knicks and Hawks. Well,
because if you're the Hawks, and you keep Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, plug Giannis in, like that defense is only going to be even better. And between all of those guys already, they've been playing fairly well without Trey, and you still get a closer in the playoffs in Giannis.
Yeah. And there's a possibility they could keep Trey Young too. Obviously, they saw Yurda.
Yeah, and there are other pathways to where they could keep Trey too. So, I think the Knicks and Hawks, and then maybe the Rockets. And maybe
you don't think the Spurs?
No, I don't think the Spurs are contender level right now. Like the Rockets currently are up there with the Nuggets and the Thunder as the clear best teams in the West. And if you were to swap, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith for Giannis functionally, that team now becomes a much bigger threat to Denver and OKC.
Yeah.
You still have to go through OKC, but also, and I've been saying this frequently on Twitter recently because I keep seeing people say well, there's no point in doing anything because the Thunder are anointed. No matter how probable something is, nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah.
The 73-win Warriors lost in the finals. The Thunder this last postseason went to 2 separate 7-game series.
Yeah.
It's not inevitable. The Warriors with KD lost in 2019 because they had injuries. If Shea goes down, and I don't want him to, but if Shea went down, the Thunder definitely don't look like the world beaters they currently are. So if you're a team like the Knicks, the Hawks, the Rockets, maybe the Heat, the way I think Giannis would thrive in the system the Heat have been playing. Just give Giannis free range to push and transition and attack in a very spaced court with no screens. Who's staying in front of Giannis in that situation?
Yeah.
And then the Heat in that deal also didn't have to give up Jaquez, who's been probably the sixth man of the year so far.
Or even Pell Lawson, who was starting a lot against them.
Exactly. They still have plenty of depth, even though they'd give up a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when, where, why, how, all the questions.
Yeah. Also, the interesting thing, and it probably doesn't mean anything, but Giannis is currently out until about December 15th, which is when the trade season really opens up.
Yeah.
So it probably is just injury prevention, rehabilitation stuff, but it also seems to align with, okay, we're keeping you out until functionally the early trade deadline starts.
Yeah.
So, but in my heart of hearts, just for your sake, I hope Philly winds up with it.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
I know how much that would mean to you, so I'm rooting for that just for you, bud.
If it weren't for me, where would you want to see Giannis?
Atlanta.
Okay, I think I agree.
Yeah.
I think I want to go with the Spurs just because like him and Wemby would be like the freak show of all freak shows.
Yes, that would be monstars.
Yeah.
In real life. But I think like the most competitive team that also would still be really young around him, and like Atlanta just checks a lot of boxes, I think. And him and Jalen Johnson would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, one of my buddies is a Bucks fan. He said, "Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it." So
yeah, and like it's one of those things. I've had this discussion with friends before who've like gotten divorced.
Yeah.
And like there's this notion that like, oh, is a failure. Like, no, he's been with them since what was it, like 2015 was his draft class?
2013.
2013. So he's been with them for like 12, 13 years now.
Yeah.
Like,
and he won a
championship. Yeah. There, if he left now, you can't be upset.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't. Similar to like LeBron leaving the Cavs after 2016 and like delivering the championship. You can't really be mad anymore at him. He came back, he delivered. Like,
yeah,
I would find it hard to believe many Bucks fans would like hold this against Giannis or be overly upset beyond the fact like, oh, we're gonna really suck now. Depending on what the trade return is. But I could also see those fans being like, ooh, we got like a top 4 pick in this draft class, or we got Amin Thompson, or we got Dylan Harper, or you know, we got Denny Advia and Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp. Like, I think you can sell hope to these Bucks fans with a lot of these deals too.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So be on the lookout this time next week. Myself and Corbin and Josh, obviously, if you want to join us, we're going to be doing a mini trade deadline primer around December to be released December 15th.
Yep.
That's when. So we'll coordinate a time, but
that's the tip off of trade season.
Exactly. Yep. So we're going to release that the morning of December 15th. So be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, you can find all content at thecenterhub.substack.com. All our socials at thecenterhub_BB. You can find me on Twitter at @the_NBAgle. Josh, anything you want to plug?
Not currently. Just follow good content like Center Hub, like Swish Theory. Support the people who are actually doing interesting work in the public basketball sphere, because a lot of the stuff that's out there is just kind of like, it doesn't really tell you anything. It doesn't really enlighten you. It doesn't really give, like, if you were a front office, it doesn't actually help you in any way. So when you do see stuff that does that, like, support it, share it publicly, retweet it. So yes, Center Hub, Swish Theory. There's several good like Substacks and stuff. Be on the lookout for good content, and when you find it, support it.
Okay, this should conclude this episode. Again, if you're listening to the audio version on the Bird Rights podcast feed and you want to see the physical, like trade machine screenshots, feel free to watch us on YouTube as well. That's at the Center Hub _BB. Rate, review, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get this podcast, wherever you get this video. And otherwise, I will talk to you guys next week when we do, as I said, our mini trade deadline primer. Myself, Josh, we will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for listening.